What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. Today I'm actually doing a little bit of work on the Evo yet again. Like I said in the last video, I had some things, if I had time, I was going to do to the car, but unfortunately I ran out of time, so it's a few days later trying to pick it up. So I'm going to get you guys up to speed. I already got a head start on everything, and I almost forgot my camera, and I was like, you know what, let me go grab it. Some of you guys might want to see what I'm doing to the car, or I might be able to help some of you guys out in the future if you do own one of these cars or plan on owning one. So with that being said, let's check out the Evo. So the plan for today and for the Evo, when I was at Auto Hobby the other day, I talked about the gauge cluster. For those that didn't see that video, go check it out. But I got this from a guy named Terry out of Malaysia, JDM_used parts. Go check him out on Instagram. He's got a lot of cool, unique, rare JDM parts, aftermarket stuff, and even OEM stuff. And not only for Mitsubishi, but a bunch of other cars. So Terry, really appreciate it. Thanks, man, for getting this and the ARC heat shield. Definitely some goodies that are really hard to find for these cars, and came through, shipped it out real quick. But I didn't actually even plan on making a video today. I almost didn't grab my camera, I'm not gonna lie. So you guys can see here, my red SR3 Recaro is currently out of the car. The foam on the bottom, for those that are familiar with the SR3s, they have like this webbing underneath and a little rubber piece. Well, the rubber piece split, and the foam from my big butt essentially pushed down that foam, and I was sitting real low in the seat, and then from the back seat you could actually see the foam underneath a little bit. So I definitely have been meaning to get that fixed up, and I was trying to find like a OEM replacement part for that, but a few guys I know were like, hey, just use 550 cord, parachute cord. It's rated for 550 pounds. So I was like, you know what, cool, I'll go ahead and pick some up. I am on a military base, and that stuff is easy to come by. So I got that, took the seat out, went inside and weaved it all up, and it's holding very nice right now. I got the actual seat rails back on, and then before I put the seat back in, I came out here and I was like, you know what, I got a lot of room, and I know I'm gonna have to remove some of the trim over here, and then I'm gonna have to like lay up underneath and try to get to the firewall. So I was like, all right, let me just leave the seat out for now. I'm gonna hit it with the shop vac down here. I got some debris underneath that I was unable to get to before with the seat actually in, and then I have that shifter bushing kit. So perfect opportunity, seat out. I was actually thinking about removing the passenger seat and shop vac underneath there as well, because the car is getting shipped very soon, and I figured might as well just go ahead and get it as clean as possible, maybe even shampoo it a little bit and make it smell nice and fresh. Nice amount of daylight out right now, so I went ahead and got a head start. So I'll get you guys up to speed. I was trying to find a firewall entry to actually plumb the vacuum line. So a few weeks ago I picked up a bunch of this from Makeman. It's like the hardware store out here, and I was looking over here on the driver's side near the brake booster, and I really couldn't find a really solid spot. So I reached out to my buddy Doug out here. He's got an Evo II. Go check him out on Instagram as well. I think it's Lush Motors. I don't know off the top of my head. I'll put his Instagram down below, but he's got a really nice Evo II, and he does a lot of Gymkhana out here, and he's pretty familiar with the car. He's had it for a while, and he was like, no, there's one behind the windshield wiper fluid bottle, but you got to remove it. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it right, because I don't want to route it and have it go through the door or through the frame or anything like that. So to get the actual fluid bottle out, I got it over here. Kind of a pain in the butt, and not too hard, but I had to remove the 14mm bolts here on the strut bar, and then there's two 10mm bolts right here, and then I had to disconnect the two plugs that go into the different pumps, and then the hoses for the actual fluid. Got that out. I didn't have to remove the strut bar completely, just got it up out the way, and then was able to lift and get the fluid bottle over here. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And then I was able to remove the grommet right there. And then I came on the passenger side, and I was like, all right, let me try to see if I can actually get a peep on where this line is at. Fortunately, the blower motor is right here, the ECU. There's a lot of stuff in the way, so I couldn't actually see the light coming through the grommet that I had popped off. Even with the glove box open, couldn't really get a good peep on it. And then I was looking over the top, and I could see a little bit of sunlight with the door open, so I just took the actual vacuum line and just kind of fed it down through, not actually thinking it would work. I figured it would get snagged on something and get bunched up, but first try I was able to slide it right through. So we got the vacuum line right here. That'll go up over here because the gauge cluster will be sitting right here, and I'll just route everything through the center console right there. So vacuum line's good. That's usually like, I guess, the toughest part with a boost gauge, even though it's not really that tough. I do have a T, so I'll just find a good vacuum line to tee off of. I haven't really actually thought about it yet and looked into it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe one of these vacuum lines, maybe off the blow-off valve. Something easy so I don't have to route it all the way across the car. I'll look around and find a good candidate. Literally just snip it, put the T in, get the vacuum line. The main reason I want to get the boost gauge in, why I'm kind of being impatient about it, I definitely want to see what kind of boost the car is actually putting down. I don't have a gauge in here right now, so I know what the factory boost is. So I want to get the gauge hooked up, go for a pull, make sure I'm getting optimal boost so I know I don't have any leaks or anything like that. I'm not going to actually do all the electrical stuff right now. I really want to get the volt gauge and the oil temperature gauge going. But unfortunately with the oil temp gauges, on the forums I was reading, there's a special OEM sensor. They're super rare. Mitsubishi doesn't make them anymore. And unfortunately, I do not have one. So I don't think that I'm gonna actually be able to run the oil temp gauge. I might have to do an aftermarket one. But I think it'll look good in the car. It'll definitely set off the interior. And in the meantime, short time, I'll have the OEM boost gauge. I am gonna run a air to fuel ratio gauge once I actually start getting into the engine a little bit more. That's probably gonna be one of the first things I'm gonna purchase for the car when I get back to the States. And I'm also looking right now, so I did the test pipe the other day, and I noticed a little bit of smoke, a little bit of white smoke. It doesn't smell sweet, like coolant or anything like that, so the Evo gurus out there, help me out. It's not pouring out on startup and idle, and it's sitting there idling for a while, and then I give it some gas, just a little puff here and there. So I have reason to believe it might be valve stem seals in the head. I know those tend to go out, especially if the guides are all jacked up. So I've been doing a lot of research on that, and I was like, you know what? I do have lifter tick. I know that's a common issue on the DSM motors and on this 4G, and I do suffer from it every now and then. It's kind of embarrassing on a cold start every now and then, especially when I'm at like my work, my job, and we're leaving work and I get in the car and I'm fired up. The lifter tick or the lash adjuster tick is just so loud on these cars. Usually it'll remedy itself in like 30 seconds, or I'll let it run for about 5 seconds, turn the car off, turn it back on, and then it'll go away and I won't have any more issues. But I know they make zero tick lifters for these cars, so I was looking at adding those. There's a few other things. I was looking at valve springs, valves, and then the more I kept like adding to the cart, I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna do this thing, I might as well do it right, and I might fully rebuild the head, actually take it to a machine shop, get it done while it's there, get the valve cover painted, because I know you guys are always complaining, hey, this is the OEM color. I didn't pick this color, but I definitely want to do a Mitsubishi red and get that professionally done, and then maybe get some porting done on it and run an oil catch can and whatnot, so it'll breathe a little bit better. I know these 4Gs don't have the best amount of breathing up here in the head from the factory, so lots coming for this car. I literally was just going ham, just adding all this stuff to the cart, and I was just going through. I was actually looking at STM and Extreme PSI and a few other sites. But I'm gonna wait till I get back to the States. Main goal now is just to get the car out of here, get it shipped. It's gonna be on the boat for a few months, and then when it does get back to the States, I'll have a garage, I'll have a toolbox, I'll be more set up rather than where I'm at now and having to deal with it. And hopefully I can find a good DSM shop or some good DSM tuners in the States that are willing to help me out and work on this car. So if you're watching this video and you're a DSM guru and you're in the Southeast, preferably Georgia, something like that, reach out to me. I love to link up and talk future plans for this car. But that's enough about that. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start working on getting the trim out the way so I can actually get the gauge installed, and then I'll go ahead and put the vacuum line on the back of the gauge, get it bolted up, and then we'll work on the engine, finding a T, and then fire it up and test it out. So stay tuned. Oh yeah, and before I forget, because you guys are probably gonna ask, the Hayabusa is back. It was at my buddy Brandon's house for the past, I don't know, 6-7 months, and he was actually storing it. I went on a work trip and I was gone for a little while, and the JCI expired on it, so I had to get it towed back here, and it's going with my household goods, so it's gonna be getting shipped out in like a week and a half. But it does fire up. I did crank her the other day. She sounds great. You guys can see right here, if you watch my cars for sale vids, you guys know what the 31 means. That's the Heisei year. So the JCI expired in August of 2019, and I think I left in July or August, and when I got back it was done. And the only reason I didn't do JCI on the bike is because it has this full titanium Yoshi exhaust. I mean, this thing is all the way titanium, and this sucker is loud. Maybe I'll do a startup here for you guys in a little bit. But for those that are wondering actually about shipping a motorcycle back to America, I know I always talk about cars. You are unable to ship a bike that is not 25 years old, just like the cars out here, unless it meets EPA standards in America, which this bike is actually a Canadian spec bike. So if you see here, so we got all the French down here. This stamp is very important. And then on the other side of the bike, got my little Liberty Walk sticker that I picked up when I was in Nagoya. But on this side, we got the Canadian stamp right here, and it says, you know, the spark ignition system complies with Canadian. Canadian viewers out there, you guys probably know exactly what this is. All I know is if it's Canadian spec, it complies with US spec bikes, and I can ship it. It's pretty cool because it says 280 on the dash. It is in kilometers an hour, and they're actually just going to crate the bike up and then ship it with my couches and my TVs and all that other good stuff. And then over here, but this bike is a blast. It does have a decent amount of kilometers on it, but overall it runs smooth. And I don't really know exactly what I'm gonna do with the bike in the States. I might ride it, commute to work to keep the miles off the Evo, or I might sell it and then just dump that money into the Evo and just go super crazy on the actual car build. Not exactly sure, but the tires, pretty fresh. I bought them last year. I put maybe 1,000 kilometers. All right, enough about the bike. Let's get in here and figure this thing out. I don't have a how-to guide or anything, so I'm just gonna start pretty much unscrewing things and just trying to get access to the DIN here underneath the radio. So check that out. There's literally 2 screws right here. Use a Phillips head screwdriver, and I was able just to pop it off. And now, look at all the clearance we have. Crazy easy. I'm just gonna try to get this up out the way. I don't even think I really need to unplug anything, because all I really need to do is get the actual gauge cluster lined up in here. I think I just unscrew these 2, and then put the gauge in there, and then these just go right over the top. Not exactly sure. Let me go grab it and see what the deal is. All right, guys, so really easy, really easy. Unfortunately, though, I don't know if there's some kind of adapter or some kind of bracket I'm missing, because it's not sitting completely flush. It's kind of embedded in here, and I didn't really think about that ahead of time. I mean, everything works. The trim is all back in place, but for whatever reason, I mean, not that big of a deal, especially from like the driver position, but if you just look like real close, there's definitely a gap all around. The radio sits flush, so I feel like the gauges, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, or there's something I can add right here. Not exactly sure. I don't know. Let me look. Actually, I think I have to, instead of bolting it in here, I think I might have to bolt it into the actual trim now that I think about it. So I'm gonna have to pop this back off and see if I can get mounted to the actual trim. All right, there we go. Much, much better. So definitely don't try to mount it into the actual DIN bracket in there. You just mount it to the actual plastic trim. So got it in there, good to go. Glad I figured that one out. I'm pretty sure you guys were about to blast me in the comments, but I knew it definitely didn't look right. But now, super flush. It's definitely filling in that gap. It looks like a factory gauge set. It looks so cool, and I'm super stoked to have this in here. So now, gauge is in. All we gotta do now is go tee off a vacuum line and then get this teed off, and then we should be good to go. We should be in business. So I'm gonna go back up to the front of the car and see what I can do. All right, guys, pretty much everything is plumbed up. I had to cut a little slit right here in that grommet, but I routed the vacuum line underneath the intake manifold, and then I tapped in to this vacuum line here coming off of the actual intake manifold. So I just put a simple T in there. I'm actually gonna have to heat this up right here and slide it on a little bit further. The hose is not wanting to go on, so I'm gonna give it a little bit of heat, get that all the way on. You guys get the idea right here. I wanted to kind of keep it as clean as possible, keep everything up and out the way, so when you're looking at the engine bay, you barely even see anything. That's pretty much it though. So I do want to fire the car up and make sure I'm getting vacuum to make sure that the plumbing and everything is good to go, make sure there's no issues with the gauge and whatnot before I button everything back up. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, guys, day 2 of my interior shenanigans. Yesterday I took a little break, and then it started raining really bad, so I was like, you know what, I'll just finish up tomorrow. And now, beautiful day here. It doesn't look like it's gonna rain anytime soon, so I'm back at it again. I went ahead and already removed the passenger seat and remove the trim around the e-brake. I've got stuff everywhere right now, but what I'm ultimately trying to do is I'm trying to get the center console off here and then I should have access to all the shifter bushings down here, and I have that billet shifter bushing kit that I'm going to try to tackle and get installed. I've been putting it off for a while. I've actually had it for about a month now, and I've just been lazy, but I figured if I get all the seats out, I might actually remove the back seat as well, and then I'm going to wipe everything down, shop vac, clean the whole interior, and try to make this thing as clean as possible. So I got a lot of debris underneath here. You guys can see all that. I'm going to wipe all that down, try to degrease it, and then vacuum it up and just get as much debris as possible cleaned up. And I figured, I mean, a long time coming. I don't know when the last time this car's had like a really deep interior cleaning, so I figured might as well go ahead and give it a shot. But that's where I'm at right now. So I'm gonna get this off, and then we're gonna take a look at the actual bushing kit and look at the pieces. I don't have any instructions, but we're just gonna kind of see what goes where and get it installed. And it should tighten up the actual the shifter feel of the car. All right, so I got the center console trim out, and I just realized, just now noticed, I have a little rip in the shift boot leather. So more than likely this will be getting replaced here in the near future. I don't like seeing it. You can't really notice when the shift knob's on and whatnot, but yeah, got to get a replacement for that. I might do something to accent the interior. I'm not exactly sure. And this has a little crack right here. Not too big of a deal though, but we got that off. I'm gonna go ahead and put that off to the side. And then now we have the shifter linkage. I think it's just these 4 pieces. We're gonna have to take a look. But yeah, a lot of debris down here. I'm glad I removed everything, because now I can actually get in here in all the little nooks and crannies and get that cleaned up, because look how nasty that looks. I don't think it's ever been removed. I'm not sure. But 25 years of dirt and debris just collected up down here, and there's a lot of little pieces of dirt and dust. So gonna get all this cleaned up, try to make it as new as possible. I don't even know what's going on down here, but the looks can be deceiving. And the car, I mean, it looked really clean interior wise when I got it, but when you start removing stuff, that's when you get the real picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the kit and just try to figure out what goes where. So actually bummed out a little bit. I'm trying to figure out where the bushings go, and I believe these 2 right here go underneath next to where the other end of the actual cable is, but I think these right here, if not these, the smaller ones over here, go here where the linkage is. However, this one I can't get off. It has like a little like polyurethane bushing, and I'm trying to pop it out. Can't get it popped out. But then this one over here, it has a different type of bushing, and this is just like a black rubber. I don't know exactly what it is. So in order to get that out, I'd have to break it. So before I did that, I wanted to test the actual linkage I had and see if it fit right here. But unfortunately, it does not. Like, it does not go no matter what way I put it. So I'm afraid if I get this one off, then I'm not going to have any bushing to go in here, because this one, I don't even think I can slide it off. I think I have to break it off. I might be able to slide it off, but it's so old, I don't want to break it. So I think I'm just going to ditch the bushing kit for now and maybe do a little bit more research on it. I don't want to mess anything up here. But if anybody that's watching this video has this kit and you guys got some tips or tricks, let me know. Like I said, no instruction manual. Figured I'd be resourceful, get in here and figure it out. I don't know, kind of hit a roadblock. So if you guys know, comment down below, and I'll try to figure this thing out another time. But for right now, I'm gonna try to get everything cleaned up and get everything buttoned back up and get this interior as clean as possible. So we'll pick back up once I have pretty much everything clean, so you guys can see, and then that might do it for today's video. I don't have anything else really planned for the day on the car. Stay tuned. All right, little update, guys. I got the passenger seat in, bolted down. I vacuumed the crap out of underneath of it. There's literally like not one speck of dust. And then on the other side, I'm also cleaning the mats down here. And on the other side, I got the red Recaro, and I mentioned, let's see if I can get a peek for you guys. I refurbed the webbing with some parachute cord. I know it looks crazy, but there is so much tension under there now, and it's rated for 550 pounds. So this is definitely gonna do the job. It's out of sight, out of mind. And if I ever wanted to like do it over down the road, all I have to do is just cut a few different points and it'll all come out. But this is my crazy contraption right now, but I think it's gonna work. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the seat in, sit down and test it out. The seating position should be a lot higher now, because where my butt would go, I would sink in a few inches. So pretty excited about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that in now. And I'm gonna vacuum up this area just a little bit more, and then that should be it. That should be it. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. The car is completely clean. I went ahead and sprayed some carpet cleaner on all the carpets, vacuum, actually hit it with a shop vac. Did a little bit on the actual roof liner, but I'm sweating like crazy right now. But this is pretty much the final product. Got a little dehumidifier in here. Just try to dry out the car as much as possible. And I think later today, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the actual exterior, wash it, and maybe hit it with some quick wax. But it is starting to rain, so I gotta go. But this is it, the Recaro with the bolster. I sat in it. It feels great. So with that being said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It is raining, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later, guys.